shocking story. Guys, engage with the content, hit like, subscribe to Burn It Down with Kim Brown here on YouTube. Shout out to the folks following us different places on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook at BIDWKB. What's going on Twitter at Burn It Down KB. So, gang, it's election season. Did you know? Have you been made aware that we are in the middle of a presidential election? And like clockwork, it is time for the Democrats in particular, though it seems the Republicans are doing something in the way of trying to accomplish some sort of black outreach, I guess. Howsoever, what the Democrats do is classic, and you can set your watch to the shit, right? Time to start pandering to Negroes, right? Time to start showing up at the black church. Where the fuck y'all been at for the past 4 motherfucking years? time to start ringing the bell about a myriad of wedge issues, cultural issues, the culture war issues, abortion. The Democrats didn't give a fuck about no goddamn abortion until Roe versus Wade was overturned. And another issue that the Democrats nibble at the edges around has to do with that of gun violence. Right now, everyone who lives in America is well aware of how violent a place America is. Depending on where in America you live, you know this way more acutely. If you live in an urban setting, you may know it. Also, if you live in a red state setting, you also may know this because, they give it out guns at the goddamn Piggly Wiggly upon checkout. It's no rules here in America. Damien, it's dangerous. Don't come over here. Our UK friends, stay where you are. America is not well. So, anywho, Kamala has been put on the job. September of 2023, the Biden administration created the White House Office of Anti-Gun Violence Prevention, some sort of word salad throwing gun violence and prevention and anti and White House and all that shit in there. They made Kamala in charge of that shit, right? They said, we need something for her to fucking do. We need some. Where can Kamala do the least amount of damage and harm? Okay, we'll put her on guns, an absolutely go nowhere fucking issue. But it sounds good because it panders to black people because our communities are disproportionately impacted by gun violence. But the gag is the approach that has been taken by liberal Democrats in particular, but not just limited to them, but they are the ones driving this truck at the moment. The approach has been to just throw niggas in jail, throw everybody with possession of guns in jail, right? That is, I wonder if you let out all the possession of firearms folks out of jail, how much would the jail and penitentiaries be depleted, everybody? Probably by 2/3, right? America's war on guns is a farce because there are more guns in this country than there are people. There is never a way to get rid of the guns, okay? And as soon as the country as a whole, liberals in particular, erase this fantasy from their dreams. Wake up. It's a nightmare. You're never going to be able to collect 400 million guns. It's not going to happen. But it doesn't stop the panda machine from operating like clockwork. So let's go to Atlanta this week, where Kamala shared a stage with rapper Quavo. I sound so middle-aged. With rapper Quavo of the rap trio Migos. So we know, unfortunately, one of the members of Migos, Takeoff, was murdered, I think about 2 years ago, next to Quavo. They was all in the spot together, and he got shot and killed very tragically. Unfortunately, one of many rappers over the past several decades that have been taken via gun violence, right? So in his wake, in Takeoff's wake, Quavo has created the Rocket Foundation, something that aims to address tackling gun violence, which sounds great, right? It sounds awesome. It sounds like a good endeavor. But when you contrast it against Quavo's latest album, of which the new single is titled Mink, and he is still very much glorifying gun violence, I was confused. I said, This is a bit of a contradiction. But first, before we get into all of that, let's take a look. Oh, and can I apologize to y'all in advance? Oh, y'all go hear some Kamala. I'm sorry. Don't turn away. I had to watch this shit. Y'all gotta watch a little bit of this shit. I think we're gonna watch maybe 3-ish minutes of Kamala and Quavo. And when I tell you that Kamala is about to spew, is it vintage Democratic rhetoric at this point? All the universal background checks, the red flag laws. I'm like, I've been hearing this for like 30 some years at least. And what advancements have been made policy wise on doing anything, quote unquote, about gun violence? I know the Biden administration did have a Supreme Court victory today. I'm going to mention that here in a second. But so Will's going to take us up. Will, put me down in the corner where I wish I could give you this feeling. I wish I could give you this feeling. On the corner, niggas robbing, stealing, dying just to make a living. Huh? So here we go. Kamala and Quavo in Atlanta to what seemed to be a full room of unfortunately misguided individual. Deeply misguided. So we have Kamala here, the vice president of the United States. The I guess you could say, is she the top of the black misleadership, given that she holds the highest elected public office? Let's give her that. Yes, she is the head. She is the pinnacle of the black misleadership, and she's sharing a stage with Quavo, who is the perfect example of why celebrities need not be paid attention to in terms of when they try to speak about so-called serious issues, consequential issues, social issues. You cannot listen to them because they're full of shit, because they will still very much capitalize off of the thing that they claim to be speaking out against. And these are not folks that should be role models for your children. These should not be people whose even mumble raps you try to remember and recite, beloveds. We have to throw them into the garbage can post haste. But I shall speak less and let Kamala speak more. Let's go, Will.
Survivors and the pain that is associated with gun violence in America is almost unspeakable. And it is everywhere. And what Quavo has been doing with the Rocket Foundation to translate that pain and that grief into something that is about creating strength and empowerment in the community, including among our young people, is really extraordinary. As I said to you that day, Quavo, in my office, that you have chosen to use your celebrity, the gift that you have as an artist, to talk about and actually work on with action this issue is really extraordinary. You are an incredible leader and a national leader on this. And I thank you for that as the head of the first White House office.
Pause that. Obviously, Kamala has not heard Quavo's new record because she's talking about he's using his celebrity, his gift, not his natural ability, because as it comes to rapping, he clearly has none. I heard the goddamn record, okay? That shit is garbage. So I'm assuming she means the gift that the elites have bestowed upon this black man, right? The gift of celebrity. Now you have been elevated to the ranks of celebrity, so that automatically makes you a leader, says Kamala Harris. A leader of what, baby? A leader of a foundation that contradicts the whole way that he got his money by glorifying, or I mean, listen, by glorifying gun violence. Now, let me be clear. You guys already know I'm 40 fucking 5 years old. I grew up in the height of gun violence rap music, misogynistic rap music, not very uplifting rap music. I'm not offended by him glorifying gun violence. I'm used to it. I suppose on some level I'm numb to it, but it's let's not put his career and the reason why he's famous ergo him glorifying gun violence, in the same sentence as you're using your celebrity to tackle gun violence. Bitch, please. I'm sorry. Resume, Kamala. She's patting herself on the back because Joe Biden gave her something to do for the past 9 months. Let's go.
Of gun violence prevention and as Vice President of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you.
Boo.
Really?
Boo.
Really.
Boo.
And so this issue is, well, let me just start with this. It doesn't have to be this way. And we have to hold on to and remember that. It does not have to be this way.
And yet
we cannot ever normalize this. We cannot ever get used to it.
Too late.
And we certainly cannot accept it.
We drill in schools for this.
We need to understand that
it is normal.
Everyday gun violence is as serious as mass shootings, that any life lost, any life that has been impacted by gun violence is one life too many. We have to think about this in the many ways that the injury occurs, which includes, of course, the tragedy of life that is lost, but also the trauma that is an additional form of injury.
And where can people
that can exist for a lifetime if we don't put resources into calling it what it is?
What's that?
And putting the resources into diagnosis and treatment.
So where is those resources?
Let's think about it in terms of
the
tragedy that gun violence in America is the #1 killer of the children of America.
And what is the Biden administration doing about it?
Not car accidents, not cancer, gun violence.
Oh, they formed a office.
1 in 5 Americans has a family member that was killed by gun violence. Gun violence, Black victims of gun violence, 10 times more likely to be a victim of gun violence. So it's a real issue that requires everybody's priority in terms of addressing it. And there are many ways to do it.
What are they?
Also what we need to do around election time.
Right. Don't forget the reason for the season.
Recognizing that too many people who I will call cowards have been pushing this false choice to suggest you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. That's a false choice. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment. I also believe there is no reason why we have assault weapons on the streets of America.
Because it makes money.
Of war.
It makes money.
We need an assault weapons ban. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and we need universal background checks. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and we need red flag laws.
Woo, I've heard this so many times for so long.
And we need the people in the United States Congress to have the courage to stand up to the gun lobbyists.
But they won't, and they've shown that they won't.
Action.
But they won't.
Around what is just reasonable. Universal background checks. You just might want to know before someone can buy a lethal weapon. If they've been found to be a danger to themselves or others, you just might want to know. That's reasonable.
You're trying to reason with psychopaths. That's unreasonable.
Assault weapons. Assault weapons are designed to kill
psychopaths.
A lot of people quickly. There's no place for them in the neighborhoods and the streets where people live and go to school and worship.
Oh my
We've
God.
seen what they do. So there are solutions, and that part of the work that I'm doing with the Gun Violence Prevention Office at the White House is to work on those solutions, including what we have recently done through that office, which is to put $1 billion into hiring mental health counselors in our public schools to help address the mental health aspect of this.
But why just public schools? That's nice, but why just public schools? Wait, we got a commercial. Sorry, but keep it. Yeah, let's skip through the commercial because I think Quavo gonna say a little something. Let me just say this real quick. Hold fast there, Will. Is it me? Is it me? I feel as though these are the gun control talking points of the Clinton administration. Like all of this feels very 90s. Definitely Obama, etc. Fuck, let's even throw W in there because I believe it was W. Bush who did sign the assault weapons ban, right? It's so everything is upside down, for God's sakes. There is no getting control of the guns, guys. This is all election time, rhetorical speak aimed specifically at the Black community because we are disproportionately impacted by the gun violence, right? At least on an individual basis, right? Do the majority of the mass shootings happen in Black neighborhoods? Not no, but some do, right? They just had that big mass shooting. Where was that? Outside of Detroit at the splash pad. Anyway, but my point is, tens of thousands of people die from gun violence every year. That number has not dissipated at all. And and it is clear when she talks about the cowards in Congress. There are Democrats that are part of that cowardly contingent to which she is referring to. And at what point are Democrats going to abandon trying to find a legislative solution to the gun violence problem? This is a healthcare problem. And I understand there is as much of a chance as a universal healthcare solution passing Congress as there is any sort of meaningful gun control. But on either front, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what are we doing? The Biden administration needs to be applying not $1 billion to hire mental health professionals to work in public schools. That sounds great. But, you know, maybe if a sliver, half, maybe all of the many billions that have been sent to both Israel and Ukraine could be best reapplied to the mental health crisis that is engulfing this nation. You're never going to get the guns off the street, but I bet if people knew that they had unfettered access to mental health services, I would wager big money that the amount of gun violence would go down. Because the gun violence is a response to poor coping skills, poor emotional expression, poor expressions of in how they respond to anger and rejection and hurt and all kinds of things. But it's a mental health solution. It's not a gun. Get the guns off the street. We need universal background checks. All that shit sounds great. That shit doesn't fucking work. The number of mass shooters in this country who have been allowed to take countless lives oftentimes purchase those guns legally. And I don't know how many examples or instances of that we need to see before these motherfuckers in Washington, on Capitol Hill, and in the White House really fucking understand that no matter how many laws you slap on the books for guns, there are too many guns out here to eradicate guns. And oftentimes the laws that you think is going to do something ain't doing jack fucking shit. That piece of shit in Uvalde who shot up Robb Elementary School bought that shit legally. That racist piece of shit who shot up the top supermarket in Buffalo, New York, bought that shit legally. And the list goes on. So your laws are bullshit. They don't work. And that's how I know Joe Biden and the Biden administration are not serious about this issue, because they put Kamala bum ass working on an issue that is a go nowhere fucking issue. And they're trying to make it an election issue, and they're trying to use the death of this rapper Takeoff to help spur the Black vote. This is what Democrats think of y'all. They're trying to get the Quavo vote, okay? They're trying to get the fucking Quavo vote. And I need y'all to miss me with this bullshit. But let's hear what the young man got to say. He ain't that young. He's 33. But let's see what we talking about.
I'm a victim. I got a second chance. I feel like I wouldn't be here if everybody, you know what I'm saying, it would have. I just look at myself as like, when I saw him land there, I felt like I saw me land there. So I feel like when I'm doing something like the Rocket Foundation, I just want to uplift his legacy and make sure to keep his name alive. So that's why we're here.
It's alive and well. Speaking of legacies, Madam Vice President, gun violence causes trauma and deeply impacts our mental health, and especially true for young folks who are going through active shooter drills, that are losing their friends and families at such a young age. And
Normal.
you have spent your career, I would argue, most of your life working on this issue as district attorney, 20 years of pouring into efforts to be smart about how we prevent violence and really elevating the national model for how we deal with stress and trauma amongst our youth. I also just want to mention, as California Attorney General, you created the Bureau of Children's Justice to shape the state's response to the crisis of childhood exposure to trauma. And as the vice president, you continue to emphasize the importance of addressing the trauma that too many of us have faced with gun violence. And so would love for you to talk a little bit more about how you've been fighting to prioritize mental health and really resources and support to help those who have been impacted by trauma.
Mm-hmm. Well, gun violence in the neighborhood, in the community, without any question, results in trauma. And just think about trauma as being an invisible wound, but a wound nonetheless. And like any wound, if it does not heal in a healthy way, it will continue to be a problem. I will say that there are many sources of trauma. Poverty is trauma-inducing. When you start compounding sources of trauma, then you can just imagine how the trauma is even more severe. So let's speak truth about that as well. But, you know, on the issue of what I've seen in particular about the trauma that comes from exposure to violence, you know, some people will simplify the point of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And one of the ways that I've heard it simplified, but it makes sense, is imagine every day you're walking across a very busy street, and out of nowhere, a Mack truck comes barreling down. Without reflection, you'll produce what's called a cortisol. Your body will absolutely just react without reflection, and you'll jump back. But if every day at different points in time that Mack truck comes, you're going to overproduce that thing. That is the thing that your body is designed to do to help you deal with stress.
You know what? I'm getting stressed listening to her.
When you
Will, that's
overproduce it one day,
I'm sorry. My apologies. If you guys want to go back and watch Kamala muddle through that explanation of PTSD, you guys are welcome to do that. I think I've had quite enough. I've heard quite enough out of the vice president and from Quavo today. And let me be clear here: I'm not unsympathetic to this young man losing his family member to gun violence. I'm not unsympathetic to that at all. My issue is this. My issue is the ridiculous contradiction between what Quavo was sitting up there next to Kamala in front of an audience being presented to us as a leader. Him and her both. I laugh at the idea of either of them being leaders, but okay. Both of them being presented to us as leaders, but one who actually holds, I guess, I won't say political power, but at least an office, is doing fuck all about it, right? And has done fuck all about it, except for put people in jail throughout her political career. And this one, the rapper, this fucking week, this nigga has dropped a record. Now, I will do me a favor, pull up the Mink lyric video, because I would like to play y'all some of this record, but we know YouTube is what, kids? A ho. That is correct. And YouTube ho ass, YouTube, spell it right in the transcript, HOE, YouTube ho ass will absolutely ding the channel with a copyright claim if we were to play this song. And in some instances, I think you guys, you know what? We should actually thank YouTube for not allowing us to listen to this as it, as it is, because it's terrible. But hold on, it's not terrible. Well, hold on, let me slow down. So Wilbert is going to narrate, and in this production, everybody, the part of Quavo will be played by Will Arenas. So, Will,
Hold
if
your
you don't,
applause. Hold your applause. Thank you.
so
The
this
pleasure.
is. Thank you, Will. We appreciate you blessing us with your narration skills today.
Okay, I'm gonna do my best. It's been a long day.
So the piece is titled Mink. And this is the last that we're starting 1 minute 44 seconds into the song because whatever. And I just want Will just to read us the lyrics and juxtapose these lyrics against what you just heard Quavo say on stage about gun violence and stopping gun violence while he was sitting next to Kamala. Will, the stage is yours, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, tonight I will be presenting to you. Nah. All right. So we got y'all see on the screen already. It's crazy. Is I can make that pistol pop, nigga, clear the crowd. Bow, bow, bow. I feel like that gets the point across. More of the song because I heard the beat. The beat make you do an ugly face. I can make that pistol pop, nigga, clear the crowd. Okay, he said it again. All right,
Yes,
he
he
does. You know, she gonna make that pussy pop, bring them racks back out, bow, bow. Okay, all right. Enterprising young lady, a little bit of pussy.
Well, enough of the commentary. I just need you to read the lyrics, my nigga. I just
I
need you to read the
was,
lyrics. You
I
giving me too much
was,
commentary. Go ahead.
I was working a trap, never worked a plan B. Mm-hmm. Don't forget your strap, boy, playing in these streets. Okay. Bow, 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 bow.
He's doing a bunch of ad libs here, like, huh, like he actually spitting something. I'm like, nigga, what? What? Why you act like you out of breath?
You trying to steal Rick Ross' flow? It's crazy.
That might be it. Will, I think that was
That's
that
it.
was
Oh,
yeah.
just the beat. Okay.
Yeah, well, fuck the beat. We can't play the song because, like I said, YouTube will ding us. And I'm not taking no copyright strike for no fucking Quavo. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Nah, absolutely not. But you guys, if you are, thank you so much, Will, for lending us your voice.
I'm putting this on the invoice. Like I performed. I had to go in front of people and
And talk about
smile,
pussy
wear a
popping.
shirt,
Yes, so sorry. I'm
bow,
sorry.
bow, bow. I don't even talk like that. I don't even know if you know me like that, but I'm with you. All right. See y'all later.
Thank you so much to Will for lending us his talents. So, what's interesting is, like I said, this is a new record for Quavo. And wait, can I offer some rap commentary, if I may, for a second? Indulge me. I listened to the song, and I'm not offended by the misogyny because I'm numb to it. I was a teenager in the 90s. I'm pretty much numb to the misogyny. I'm numb to the gun violence. So don't think that I have some content gripe with what Quavo was talking about from a rap fan aficionado perspective. It's a terrible fucking record. I don't know what it is about these younger rappers, and he ain't no baby. He's 33. This nigga rapping like he's 16. Nigga, you 30 fucking 3. Why is your flow sounding like you was born in 20 goddamn 10? It's embarrassing for these people to be calling themselves rappers. These motherfuckers not even rapping on the beat, bitch. Y'all niggas need to call this genre something else, okay? Because rap music requires a little bit of skill, and rapping on beat is at the bare minimum threshold of that skill. And if the trend and if the wave is for quote unquote rappers to not rap well, to not rap on beat, to not have a quality delivery or flow, then please, can we call this genre something else? Because this is not rap music. My rap music has standards, as in your presentation. I don't give a fuck the degrading, the ridiculous shit you may be rapping about, whatever. Spit that shit cleverly. Spit that shit with some skill, with some precision, with some panache. That shit is absent of style, of finesse, of ability, of everything. Go listen to that Quavo record. And I apologize in advance for even directing you to do so. That shit was trash. But more importantly, the contradictions. My nigga, is it Uchi Wally or is it one Mike? Can we be serious? Who am I supposed to believe here, Quavo? Am I supposed to believe mourning family member, grieving family member of your loved one who was taken from gun violence, but you, while talking out of one side of your neck, talk about I'm here to uplift his legacy. On the other side of the talk of your neck, talk about I'm gonna let off, clear the crowd. You better keep the strap on, you young boy out here in these streets. You still want to use capitalism to profit off of gun violence being marketed more broadly to younger listeners and especially Black and brown listeners. If you were serious about addressing gun violence, you would address it firstly in your fucking music. But you're making too much money off of it. And now you're getting caught up in the motherfucking Black liberal wealthy person matrix. Now you a philanthropist. Now you got a foundation. Now you can collect a little bit of crumbs off the nonprofit side of things, off the foundation side of things. Now you get to move in circles with Kamala Harris while still rapping about shooting up the motherfucking club. And a shame, a pox on Kamala Harris, her staff, her team, the Biden White House, the Biden 2024 re-election campaign, because you goofy motherfuckers is out here outright playing in Black people's faces, which is nothing new, of course. But every time we see it, we need to say something about it. You call yourself out here seriously trying to do something about, or at least present to us that you are serious with these stale 30-year-old fucking policy suggestions. We need universal background checks. We need red flag laws. We need an assault weapons ban. Who the fuck is telling me this? Al Gore in a time machine from 95? Get the fuck out my face with this old shit. Y'all have lost legislatively on this issue. Give it up. Wave the white flag. It's time to move the ball if we're talking about solutions in a different direction, and it needs to be in the form of healthcare. And you hear them, Biden Harris, falling short again. Only $1 billion to hire mental health professionals in public schools. How many billions has Israel and Ukraine gotten? That's where your money is. It's disgusting, everybody. It is wild that the Biden-Harris campaign really thinks that you can win the Black vote with the likes of a contradictory, lying-ass rapper. That's who they think is going to move the fucking needle for you darkies that's on the fence. y'all, for y'all acting like y'all soft on Joe Biden. Did you see Kamala with Quavo? Well, there you go. That should drive voter registration. And who the fuck knows? It might for some people, but it shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't. Because trotting someone like Quavo out to speak about gun violence, simply because he is a survivor of gun violence, and not to say, again, he absolutely is entitled to have views, but I'm seeing what he is saying versus what he is doing. And to me, you cannot be rapping about guns in a favorable way, in a way that tries to make you appear as a big man, as a way that tries to encourage others maybe to carry guns and shoot, let off in the air so they can appear as big men, emphasis on men. so they can also appear as big men, and then tell me on the other side, the very next day, that you are serious about getting a hold of gun violence because you've been touched by it. Well, your pockets have been touched by capitalism, and clearly that the grief that you have suffered is not enough for you to change your tune, because the money is too fucking good. But you can play in our face along with Kamala Harris, equally be playing in our faces, by the way, the Black misleadership and the Black celebrity class. And well, cue up Malcolm if you could. I mean, y'all have heard Malcolm say this. Y'all have heard Malcolm say this. But you cannot hear Malcolm say this enough. Okay. And again, there is different context here, but the principle absolutely still applies right now in 2024 to the Black celebrity class and also by extension the Black misleadership that's in politics. Will, let us hear from Brother Malcolm, please.
I just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear.
Saying the things that they know that the white man wants to hear. The white man wants to hear these black puppets get in front of black audiences and tell black audiences that we're working on the problem, that we hear you, we understand, we take the issue very seriously, and then try to do little things. For example, part of the Biden policy was this domestic violence red flag law, right? Where people who had protective orders against them as it pertains to domestic violence were precluded from buying handguns. And this was challenged in the Supreme Court, and the court released the ruling this Friday, whatever day this is. What's today? Friday, the 21st of June, released the ruling of 8-1 upholding the Biden law, right? And I was somewhat watching this case because honestly, and this may sound strange coming from me, but it did not, to me, seem very consequential whether or not that law was upheld or whether it was struck down. And I'm going to tell you why. Because people with protective orders against them will find a way to get guns regardless. With 400 million guns in circulation, the sort of naivete that some of these elected officials approach the issue of keeping guns out of the hands of those people that are not supposed to have them, as though people that are not legally supposed to have guns are going to the fucking store and showing their ID to get the fucking gun. No, no, there is definitely more than one way to skin a cat. And I take personal issue with this law, this domestic violence, people with protective orders not being allowed to buy guns. This is why I think that law is equivalent to that roll of Charmin that's in my toilet that I will put upon my hind parts when the time comes. You guys know that I knew one of them, whatever, but I knew two men in the same year that I was acquainted with who murdered their wives in the same year. One of those men, the one that did not take their life after murdering their partners, he is alive and facing murder charges now in Harford County. And he had multiple protective orders against him from his wife, who he was not allowed to see, not allowed to be in proximity to, not allowed at the house, not allowed at her job. And he was to turn over all of his guns and not be allowed to have any guns. And somehow this woman ended up shot dead in her driveway. Isn't that amazing? She had a protective order, and the person whom the protective order was against was forced to give up their guns, and somehow, must have been magic, I don't know, they came up with a gun. And I say allegedly because this person is still not yet had a trial, but the what I seen, it seems to be pretty convincing. But this person then allegedly murdered her in her driveway at her house where he was not supposed to be. So even if the law had been struck down or upheld, doesn't even really make a difference because it's a joke. Protective orders don't keep people safe. They do not keep women safe. Gun laws, writ large, do not keep society safe. So all of this talk is wrongheaded and misguided. We need to be talking about this holistically. Why is it that people reach for the gun? Because they have a poor grasp or hold of their emotions. The gun is the tool, it's the apparatus. And yeah, for those who say, well, if we just get rid of the guns, then nobody will be able to kill anybody. Sure, it sounds great. 400 million is the number. You understand? I don't think everyone is under 400 million. It would take hundreds of years. I'm not even, that's not hyperbole. That's facts. Hundreds of years to collect 400 million guns. Should it take hundreds of years to pass universal health care? No, it shouldn't. But at this pace, it very well fucking might. Hold these leaders accountable and tell them that you want actual shit done. Stop doing this with the Republicans and getting nowhere on this issue. It's time to move onward. It's time to get fucking creative. I need to move beyond universal background checks because them shits don't fucking work. Red flag laws do better, but a determined person can easily circumvent a law. And we've seen that happen lots and lots of times. So miss me with the black misleadership cop Mala, giving the daps and the hugs to the black celebrity misleadership, that of Quavo, who is talking out of both sides of his out of his neck and don't know whether or not it's Uchi Wally or is it fucking one mic.